In the same room where President Lincoln signed the first Emancipation Order in 1861, President Johnson signed the 1965 Voter Registration Act and pledged to millions of Americans a new chance to find a political voice.
On August 6, 1965, just 5 months after the violence of Selma and the President's civil rights appeal to Congress, Lyndon Johnson signed into law the Voting Rights Act of 1965. 5 days later, the Watts district of Los Angeles erupted in the worst race riots in the city's history. National attention was riveted on the streets of L.A. But the riots there were simply manifestations of the racial tension and rage that simmered in every major U.S. city during the period.
Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your gun. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Poverty, unemployment, police harassment, unfulfilled expectations had created a tinderbox on the streets of inner-city ghettos. The civil rights movement had dismantled the Southern system of segregation and white supremacy, but it had largely ignored the insidious racism that festered elsewhere. Northern blacks were angry, disaffected, and easily seduced by fringe groups.
They call Mr. Muhammad a hate teacher because he makes you hate dope and alcohol.
Malcolm X had emerged in the early 1960s as a radical alternative to Martin Luther King and nonviolence, which he called the philosophy of the fool.
Condemning the racist practices.
As the chief spokesman for a black nationalist group called the Nation of Islam, Malcolm X espoused self-reliance and separatism rather than integration. To his admirers, he was a courageous advocate for black rights. But for many others, he symbolized reverse racism, black supremacy, and violence.
In a vicious cycle of poverty, of ignorance, of apathy, of disease, and of death. And they have these old Uncle Tom Negro leaders coming to Harlem telling you and me that times are getting better. Your times will never get better until you make them better.